So use cases and approaches. So one method to identify use cases is actor based. So usually most of the time we identify the actors or persons or users who are going to use the system, and we design the use cases based on their interactions with the system, what all they are intending to do with the system. If it is an insurance system, as a customer support executive or phone channel executive, let's say if you are buying an insurance policy with an XYZ insurance company, you call their customer care. The executive on the other side is the person who will be interacting with the system, actual system, to enter your details and to check your premium and to issue or bind your policy. So the customer support executive of that company will be the user for that system. And if you have an online portal to manage your policy once the policy is issued, then you as a customer is the user for that online portal, which is in turn connected with the main policy management system which is used by the executive. So this is just a layer what you are using. When you do some transaction on this online portal which is allocated to you, which you have user login, it will interact with the main system to fetch the information, and there comes the interfaces and APIs which we discussed in our previous classes. So the interface comes into picture there. How when a customer interacts with online portal, the data is passed on to the main system, and how the data is got in response from the main system. Those are all integration or interface requirements. Okay. And the second method is to identify use cases in event based. So when you don't know who the actors will be, sometimes whole public will be actors if it is a public website where you can fill in your survey information or something like that. So it will be an event based. So event means, so what does happen in the system? So in the system will take the opinions of n number of people and save it. So in that system, so you in that situations, you will consider event based use cases and write accordingly. So identify the external events that a system must respond to, relate the events to actors and use cases. So in that case, your requirements will mostly be the system should handle like 1,000 users at the same time or something like that. So those will be non-functional requirements, and those will be more of technical requirements. But the use cases you write will be in the system perspective in that case. So these are like basic questions which you should ask yourself when you are trying to design use cases for a system. So what are the tasks of each actor? So you should identify the user first or actor, and then identify what are the tasks he is going to do with the system. So will any actor create, store, change, remove or read information in the system? What he will do with the system? What use cases will create, or else when he does something, when the system creates or stores or changes or more information into the system. So will any actor need to inform the system about sudden external changes? So these are all the basic questions which you need to ask yourself, and you have to make sure can all functional requirements be performed by the use cases. So if you cannot like depict any functional requirements using the use cases, yeah, that's fine. You can just mention these are the functional requirements, and you may need not attach the use cases for that. Okay. So these are like generalization, means use cases that are specialized versions of other use cases. So like if you have like two three systems which performs the same kind of tasks, then you can use the same kind of use cases and generalize them for different functional requirements or different systems by just using the specialized versions. Means just changing the labels or anything. Include use cases that are included as parts of other use cases, factor common behavior. Let's say if there is a use case which can become a part of another use case, you will use this include and just make sure that this use case is part of the larger use case. So these are all for theoretical purpose. Don't confuse your mind with more of this. So if this use case is some part of other use case, then you will use this include. And if this use case is an extension of any other use case, this will happen after that, or it may not happen. It is not needed. Or if some sequence happens, this will happen. Then this use case can be used as an extend of the other use case. So don't bother much about this. These are just theoretical parts of this. So use cases, just try to grasp more about what use case is. How do we write it? Actors. Main for a main use case, you need actors. You need the basic flow. You need the alternate flow. You need the exceptional flow. Okay, so these are the basic things, and which you will be using in the template provided by your organization. And the diagrams, you will have a box where you will write down all the actions made by the actors, and on the left hand side the user, and on the right hand side you use the system. Usually it's not mandatory, you can just switch the places as well. Okay, so these are all more confusing for you. I don't want to get into all this. So these use case diagrams, if you can try to take out any situation, like I said, the like I showed you the ATM example, right? Maybe you can take an example of Cineplex or some movie booking system and try to do that, try to implement a use case diagram and also the use case template. If you can write down the use case and use case diagram, I would appreciate that. If you have time, you can try that and send it over to me. Just take it as an assignment. Think of a movie reservation system. So the user registers, logs into the system, selects the movie or selects the theater, selects the show time, selects his seats, and then pays the money, receives the email with the ticket numbers and payment confirmation. Okay?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to get into much details about this. This will more confuse you than give any knowledge to you. So I want to stress more on the agile methodologies. I'll set up a class completely on agile methodology and how the epics and user stories are maintained and how do you write the actual acceptance criteria. So that will help you more. We'll concentrate more on that. So now I'll move on to the requirement communication.